Welcome, faithful listeners, to the 66th weekly episode of Marked Out Radio. We are still the premier podcast focused on the hobby of collecting autographs and photo ops from celebrities and maybe some others who people don't consider celebrities. We talk about autograph conventions, on-the-street encounters, and everything else about this wacky, crazy hobby. I'm Sean.
And I'm Dana.
And this is the week of New York Comic Con, the biggest, the baddest, the best, most important, most significant con of the year. It's the day we look forward to. It's really the day that outsiders recognize as the sort of national 4-day holiday for this hobby. This is when people look at, my social media, really all they say is, oh, this is all from Comic Con. They really don't have any idea that there's multiple cons or there's any distinguishing characteristic. This is the sort of Super Bowl of conventions, so to speak. And a lot of this show will be dedicated to talking about New York Comic Con. But first, there's a lot of con news and reports to get to from all around the country. We don't have any international reports this week. So first, you had some exciting activities this past weekend.
I did. The first thing I'll bring up was an event that I was supposed to attend, but it was canceled. And Coach's Collectibles was supposed to have a watch party with Dwight Gooden. And Dwight Gooden did Dwight Gooden things, let's just say, and canceled. And I didn't exactly love the fact that they didn't announce it at all. The bar didn't announce it. They didn't announce it. Luckily, someone I knew that was going had a friend that was already there. And they told him when he was going to sit down at the bar that, oh, it's canceled. So I didn't end up having to go. But, it's always nice when something is canceled to sort of announce that it's canceled. I get the carny reasoning why you wouldn't, but I wasn't thrilled with that.
Nah, it's actually a little bit frustrating, especially coming from an establishment with a pretty good reputation.
I think I'm going to maybe I'm choosing to because I like the way they usually do business, but I think maybe, this type of thing, it's more bar discretion. It's their event. So maybe it's not really Coach's. Like, the bar is what announces the stuff. Coaches will do like a supplemental announcement. But I mean, the bar is the one that makes the initial announcement. So I guess that initial cancellation announcement would be their discretion. But in any case, whoever's discretion it was, that's not cool. And honestly, I don't know how many people showed up just expecting to see him. Probably a lot. And I feel like if I was one of those people, especially if I'm a little less knowledgeable, or maybe this is the first one I had, heard about, I'd be a little hesitant to go to the next one because, why would I assume they're going to be there?
It's very fair. Look, the funny thing is, one of the things you've talked about is these sort of off the beaten path signings. They always stress you out, and I kind of make fun of you. But in these instances, it's you can see why.
Yeah, it's 15 minutes from my house, so I'll go every time regardless. But if it wasn't 15 minutes from my house, I would have a whole new level of apprehension. But what can you do? In other news for me this week, there was events happening in New York. I don't always do the street meets anymore. I don't really have the time. I don't have the desire. It's probably mostly the desire because, I sure have enough time to do cons. So I could do them more if I chose to. But, every year or so, I usually dust off the old stalking equipment and I hit the streets.
And how'd we do?
Overall, pretty good. The most shocking, I think, of all was the first day. I headed in after work, and there was a spot with Elizabeth Olsen, who you kind of judged me for going at all, and I assume you were definitely right in hindsight. I had her all ready, but I figured, what the hell? I'll try to get some prints signed. So I went in. I met a buddy of mine down there. It seemed like a perfect situation. We were the only people there. It was nice and quiet. And wouldn't you know, she you don't do a lot of street meets, but have you ever been in a situation? Actually, I think you definitely have. When you sort of approach the person and they're spotty, they try to shrink in between, whoever they're with, they get smaller. You could see just the repulsion on the face. It
was Stifler, remember?
Yeah, it was like that. she was like flanked by her people who were like just women, like I guess like publicists, stylists, whatever, just people like that. And she was like shrunk in between, got all low. As she's getting into the car, we call her name. Obviously, we're not complete psychopaths, so we weren't like rushing her to be that, right up in her business. And she, just sort of ignored, got in the car, and started driving to the next location. So my buddy and I, as we're walking to the next location, we're discussing, like, were we not loud enough? Did she not hear us? I thought she did because her body language kind of said everything. And as we're walking to the next spot, inadvertently, we see them, like, let her off at a restaurant. Like, we weren't planning on following her to the restaurant, but, I mean, we followed her to the restaurant. That's sort of just the way the chips fell. So we sat on a bench outside the restaurant, and completely normal behavior to do at night with a woman you don't know, or even a woman you do know. And we sat outside the restaurant, and she came out of the restaurant, and she's walking down the street, and we asked her to sign. She's like, not tonight. So I figured, what the hell? I don't need another selfie, but I'll take it. So I respond back with not even a selfie. And she said, nope. And that was that. So a complete rejection on Olsen to start my my street meeting of the week.
And then what else? So, but you did have some success after that initial catastrophic failure.
Yes, I had some success. I went to some other spots throughout the week. I got Ethan Hawke. When I got him years ago, he was a lot more approachable. That's when he was doing basically art house movies. He was doing all the Richard Linklater films. I guess people aren't usually chasing after the Linklater people, but you make the Black Phone. Black Phone 2's on the way. There's Funkos, there's posters. The merch machine is really pumping on that. And now I suppose he's a hot commodity because there were freaks abound with stacks of things. These guys had 9, 10 items each. They were ready to pounce.
So how'd you make out with him?
He hit my print. I had 3 prints. I got 1 done. I probably could have gotten 2 done rather easily. But I'm still, even if I have them before, I'm still kind of in the mindset where I like to get a combo. I just do. It feels better for a report. It feels better for just getting an upgrade. It's ridiculous thinking. But I was trying for the selfie, which made me a little less aggressive on the second print. And I didn't get the selfie or the second print. We saw him several times throughout the day, and the last encounter, we finally got him to take pictures. He kept rejecting pictures, which I'd never really seen him do before. And I was next up to get the selfie when this woman, a non-collector, but I guess someone crazy enough to care about this stuff, like, is coming from the outside, and she hits him with a life story about her dead fiance. Her fiance died, but he's an angel looking down on her.
But they always are.
Yeah. And she somehow segued that into asking him to sign this, like, burlap bag she had.
Oh, no.
And she didn't have a pen, so then someone handed her a pen, so he, like, signed this, like, woven burlap bag in black Sharpie with, like, open spaces between the like, woven whatever, the fibers. And it looked like complete crap. And then, of course, she needed a selfie because I guess the angel fiance would really smile down even brighter if that happened. Yeah. And I don't even blame him. After that, his person, like, pulled him away. I was next. She's like, oh, he's got to go. And honestly, once you have dead fiancés and burlap sacks coming out, I mean, you kind of have to. That's the time you pull the cord. So I wasn't mad. I mean, the signature he gave me on that print was like sit down private signing level. So I mean, on that level, it was a success. After that, I did another spot with Amanda Peet, and I'm gonna say Amanda Peet from how's it called? Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. That was a show on NBC, if you remember it. It was like a mock, like SNL type of thing. It like showed like the writing room on a show like that, and it was like behind. It was a fictional depiction of like a behind the scenes look of what that would look like.
Yeah,
I liked it. It was with Matthew Perry. I liked it, but like not many people did. It lasted, I think, a year and a half, maybe. It was like 20 episodes. It was gone. That's what I always think of her from. She was actually nice. But the problem was at this spot and all the spots, there's the street graphing like riffraff. These people are unhinged. They are aggressive. They don't understand. Like, they don't have basic social skills to really understand that you do things a certain way, and it's going to usually yield better results. And I ended up joining forces down there with a guy from Ohio. He was in town with another guy from Kentucky, and these guys were like, they got it. They've been doing this for years. They recognized me from the game. I recognized them, even though we've never like spoken before. And we like joined forces. I was sitting in their rental car so we could be mobile. We were doing, it was nice to be around some like-minded people that weren't going to completely like just butcher and ruin opportunity. And we went to another spot later in the day, which basically the headline was Sydney Sweeney.
How'd that work out?
It worked out. It worked out well. The people, I was a little nervous with the people that we were in at the same spot with, because they were like completely clueless. They had like the she's got good genes, like American Eagle photos printed, and like I said to them, like, I don't know if she'll sign those. That they've become so politicized, and they're like, "What do you mean? I don't know what these pictures are. I just printed them." Like they were completely clueless.
Yeah.
And luckily, like, she came in one spot, she's like, after, and I kind of like gestured to the guys that I was with, and we went around to the front, knowing she was going to pop out in the front. And luckily, this guy had his daughter, and he traveled some states, and that's a nice icebreaker. I traveled 12 hours for my daughter to be able to meet you, and she lit up.
Not deranged at all.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're all deranged, and we got the photos nice and easy. Then we went back in the back, and she signed back there. But let me tell you, Sydney Sweeney, her people, they run a tight ship. She was not doing pen swaps. She had a black Sharpie she was running with. Forced personalizations. Someone got her on a boxing glove, and like she didn't force that personalization, which is honestly kind of funny, because that was probably
forced personalization on the streets is wild. That's rare.
That guy's daughter got her to switch pens to a silver deco because she was like a 13-year-old girl. And I mean, that goes without saying. I just went with the black Sharpie. The print I went with the print from that movie that she's probably getting nominated for. Figuring when you start picking random Sydney Sweeney photos, I mean, you're at the mercy of, I don't like that one, or you don't want to do that. So I figured, let's go with the thing she's promoting. Always tried and true. And she hit it. She hit it good. She personalized it. She took the time to like sign on the shorts. It's basically a black print with like the like white boxing shorts. Had she not done that, it would have been trash. But luckily she did that. That was good. I got out of town a little earlier than I expected. I thought I'd be in there until 10 or 11, and I wasn't. So that was nice. And here I am.
There you go. And so there are a couple other ones. Is that it pretty much for this one? Or are you gonna have, I guess, more as the week goes on?
I still have some more street meets to come, but yeah, no teasing or hyping at this time.
Got it. So we kind of dipped our toe in the waters of posting on the Facebook group some of our flashback reports, and so you posted the story we talked about a couple weeks ago, but the fake chiropractor story from I can't remember the city. It's in Ohio. Columbus. I keep wanting to say Cleveland, from Columbus. And it was funny because there were some photos there that I remember you showed me them contemporaneously, but I didn't remember like the photo of myself smiling at the airport while I was simmering with rage. It made me laugh. It really kind of brought back that whole scene to life, how crazy we were to do it. And so I guess people can expect more of these types of flashback reports because they're fun, and it's funny to see sort of what the feelings were and what the photos were in the moment as opposed to after the fact.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's wild. Like the amount of people that like were coming up to me this week and messaging me about like, oh, that was hilarious. I guess like just seeing it come to life. I had family members that somehow discovered it and were liking it, and that I never. The power of the algorithm. I mean, the fact that you have people that don't even understand this hobby at all, that are going to see me on their feed, knowing who I am personally, that this lunatic impersonated a chiropractor in Ohio. Like the whole thing is completely ridiculous. I had one lunatic message me like, I saw something about you impersonating people. Are your autographs that you sell real? I'm like, the person that posted about me impersonating people was me, and it was a chiropractor, which I mean that's not really normal, but like the connections that people make. Yes, I am faking autographs, and I then post about it myself while impersonating chiropractors. I also forge autographs.
Well,
I
there
mean,
is
come
a
on.
certain thread of logic, right?
I
And it's
guess
like
if you're willing.
since the field of chiropractics is literally based on thievery and scamming, then if you were willing to fake being a chiropractor, you would be sort of willing to engage in thievery and scamming. Maybe that's how that goes. I don't know. you set me up with something like that. How can I resist it? You know?
Are you telling me that chiropractors guarantee good times if we're going to connect it to thievery and faking?
Listen, it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of them offer happy endings. So, anyway, that was that. You also, I know Ken had Ted DiBiase out, and so you didn't go, but you got some stuff done through him.
I got some stuff done. I got a Series 1 Hasbro done, which was all I was planning on doing. But then Brian Sokol was selling the green tux. He bought it at Time Warp where he ended up getting a jump on me on those. And I kind of regretted it. And the price he was selling it for was so good. I'm like, screw it. I'll buy a second one. So I have 2 DiBiase Hasbros now because, I mean, why not?
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised you allowed him to get the jump on you with these kind of things. But at the end of the day, you got the DiBiase Hasbro's done. Also, Sean was there. He was finless. Again, I guess Finn's still at school. And he did get his Georgia National Heavyweight title signed by DiBiase. That's kind of an insane item. Pretty cool as well. Ken also had referee Jimmy Corderas out there. Did you get Jimmy on anything or no? I didn't see you post anything.
I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I don't touch. I've skipped on a lot of these referees. I mean, at a certain point, like for a split second in time, I thought about like, oh, Earl Hebner, I need him on 40 prints. And I'm like, what am I doing? I'm not doing that. I'm not getting Mike Chioda on 40 prints at a certain point. So I didn't. I
think my standard. I don't know about you, but my standard for getting a ref on something would be if the ref played a meaningful role in that thing.
Yeah, like Hebner on a Survivor Series 97 would mean a little bit more than Hebner on like a Royal Rumble 91 that he was just
right, or like the Hulk Andre title swap or something like that. You know, that's a logic to that. But to get a ref on everything is a level of completionism that I don't think is even, I don't know. But there are people who do it.
Like what Sean did on the ring used ref shirt. And I absolutely love, which I mean, it makes sense, but like they signed down the white stripe and it looks awesome. If you're a ring used guy, that's really cool. But like for me to get an op and go down there, you know, I'm gonna get an 8x10 of Jimmy Corderas, or I'm gonna pick one print arbitrarily and be like, that's the one I get him on. Like, you know, maybe one day.
It makes no sense. You did the right thing. In my estimation. You know, I don't think Jimmy's going anywhere anytime soon. So I think opportunities will arise later on anyway. What else do we have on here? The little rat, Zach Linder. We've been holding this story for weeks until the outcome was finally announced. But the little rat was able to extract a refund out of Creation for that fiasco where they never announced that John Delancey was canceling his appearance at that con, and so he showed up and he wasn't there, and blah blah blah. And then I'll be honest, he asked what I thought. I know he asked you what you thought, and I was like, Zach, they're not going to refund you. These people are just, that's how they operate. They're not going to refund you. But he did persist, and they did take weeks. They took weeks to do it, but I have to eat crow on this. He was able to extract a refund out of Creation for their poor advertising.
I actually have to give Creation some credit. I am absolutely thrilled that he got the refund. That's great. In any real world, non-carny way, he deserves it. You should get it because, I mean, you're advertising something and, you know, you would hope it's going to be there. But, I mean, the way the fine prints are written, the way the con culture is, I mean, they don't. It doesn't matter how they publicize the cancellation. I believe he already had this ticket pre-ordered. I don't think he paid cash when he walked up, did he?
Nah, he had it pre-ordered.
Yeah, obviously he didn't pay cash. He had a credit card refund. He pre-ordered it. Like if the entire lineup canceled and they said nothing, technically speaking, the con is going on. You could walk in and sit in the theater. You could buy a doily from one of the vendors. Like there's things you could do, and that is completely shady and just crappy. And it's one of the things that like fans being drug addicts for these combos and celebrity interactions have allowed to become common because no one's going to actually like refuse or really fight it or do anything. But like I'm shocked they didn't have to do that. They could have told the little rat to shove it. Sorry.
Maybe they learned of his reputation and also his propensity to go viral on Marked Out, and they decided it was not worth the headache.
Honestly, I was going to make a joke about it, but I mean, the level of viral his things have gone, I'm sure they've seen it. So yeah, probably they know not to mess with the little rat or Marked Out.
So good on Zach for getting that done. There are a bunch of reports that came in. I saw that Vinny posted that he had met Fluffy Gabriel Iglesias at a small comedy show. And then, Fluffy is the type of guy who then just announces to the crowd at the end that he'll do combos for everyone after the show.
Yeah, there's not many names out there of his level of being known that would actually do that. I've always heard he's nice. He's a fellow wrestling fan. So that's always cool to see. And, as usual, Vinny basically extracts every drop of juice out of every orange he, juices, I guess. He always gets, a great result out of things.
Well, he's smart. He's always prepared.
Yep.
And in this hobby, preparation is really, that's everything. Preparation is everything. If you're prepared, most of the time you will succeed. And, being unprepared and chaotic is how people fail. So, Vinny comes in and, he was prepared for A-Rod, right? He's prepared for Fluffy. And so he not only gets the photo, which most people got, but he also got a couple of autographs as well. And that's just how it works in this game. You're prepared, and that preparation will pay off. So that was pretty sick. We had a couple of posters. Daryl Spears and Pete Griffin. They hit Music City Collectibles Show. It's kind of fun now. We're years ago we wouldn't have expected to get never mind 2 reports out of Nashville, but here we go. We got 2 reports from Nashville. So that was pretty cool. I saw photos with Charlie Sheen, with Jeff Hardy, with a bunch of other people from those guys. So that was pretty. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool to see that we're getting a little more geographic diversity out of our reports.
Yeah, I want to get more reports like this. This is awesome. And, I would love this show to sort of cover more things from even things that we're not going to personally attend. Like we talk about, different events in different parts of the country and, the world eventually. That's pretty cool. And Charlie's definitely going on a little bit of a run. He's back.
Yeah, it's a good thing. It's a good thing for him and for us. Jabroni Josh got Kate McKinnon. It looked like at some kind of book signing, the full combo there. Again, someone who's always prepared, and it paid off. And Nick Hesley, I think he's relatively new to the board. He's been posting for the past couple of weeks. He got Banya from Seinfeld. What's his real name? Steven Hinter, I think his name is. But I love Seinfeld guests, and that was pretty cool too.
Yeah. In other news, Greg 2600 got Billie Jean King on the street, who was quite the iconic name, and he then hit 90s Wrestling Con for a bunch of names. We also had great Crossfire, Scott Swinsburg. He was there as well. He got Van Hammer, Scotty Riggs, Jimmy Corderas, Bolt Buchanan, and Georgia Smith. The Little Rat and Brett Pasternak were also there. They got some of, a smattering of those names. And I think Luigi also posted a report.
He did. Yeah.
He was rocking the Bulldog ring-worn vest from the Hart Foundation, that's cool. You see that? I don't begrudge Georgia Smith for doing these shows. I don't mock it like I do the family at Chiller of the different deceased people, because she at least brings out like a little traveling museum of artifacts and stuff. That's cool. I've never personally gone up to her and partaken in any of that because I don't really care enough. But I mean, objectively speaking, that's kind of cool. I don't think these people bring anything of significance. And the only thing I heard, I just want to put it out there because like I heard it from someone I know that they had a pre-order at this 90s wrestling con for Mo of Men on a Mission. And Mo is in the hospital, or at least was at the time of the con, so he wasn't there. And the guy that told me this went for their refund, and I believe it was Tommy Fierro's wife who was manning the ticket table, was telling him you can't get a refund, talent's subject to change, you have to exchange it for someone else. And I understand that usually when they say talent subject to change, that means, if you buy an admission to the show and the person cancels, you're out of luck. But not for an individual autograph or photo op. If that person is not there, there's no way to complete what you bought. So you have to refund the person. And they went back and forth a couple times, and apparently, it was even brought up about like, oh, well, PayPal, I'm going to tell them the same thing. And then I think Tommy ended up making it right. And I don't know. I'm not sure. I heard from other people that got refunds. Like there were some people on the group that got refunds. I actually reached out to them to see how was the process. Did they have the same struggle? And they said that they got the refund. So I don't know if the wife was confused or that was the plan and then they kind of changed it. I've never heard anything bad about Tommy Fierro, so I'm going to hope that was a misunderstanding. But I would be lying if I said I wouldn't have a little bit of hesitation to pre-order names that aren't going to sell out from them in the future, when you can just walk up and pay cash day of and not have to worry about any sort of headache on refunds.
Yeah, I mean, I think what this story kind of, when we were told the story, I was just like, wow, this is a kind of a new level of carny if it's true. And that's like kind of crazy, the idea that you would be sort of sinking money into a show regardless of who the guest is. It kind of defies all logic.
Yeah, I mean, if that was like an actual thing that was like justifiable, I mean, listen, I'm gonna announce that we booked Stone Cold Steve Austin, and then when we cancel him, wink wink, well, you got to put those $300 towards Jackson Drake or Brad Baylor. Like, I mean, come on, that it's actually lucky that I got to hear more from this like con before we recorded, because I was gonna tear them a new one. That's like, I've never heard anything so like infuriating. But now it seems like it's at least a mixed bag. Everyone got their refunds. It may have been a misunderstanding. So, I mean, this is me being kind. I would have been a lot nastier when I thought that was actually for sure what they were doing. Now I don't know.
Were you even tempted on that con?
No. I mean, I don't even pay attention, honestly. I'm not going to Jersey for these people. But when I saw Adam Baum, I do have some 93 prints I need him on. And, I mean, I could have been compelled to drop $300 on a green card Hasbro. So there were mistakes I could have made had I thought about it. But luckily, I mean, again, I'm not going to Jersey for people like that.
There was a day in the not so distant past where a con like this would have been a no-brainer for both of us.
Yeah, and that's not to I'm not trying to act all elitist here. It's just I spend so much on other stuff. I can't go filling up. It's different. It was different after COVID when there were no cons, and I would drop thousands getting these prints filled up. But now, I have to allocate my funds a little differently.
Absolutely. So that was the 90s wrestling con. I saw that someone by the name of Chasen Graphs. I'm not gonna lie. I do appreciate the clever Facebook name, but I also having people whose name isn't their real name is a little bit like weird for me. But whatever.
You don't think his family name is Graphs?
I don't, nor Chasen for that matter. Is his Christian name, but
his mother definitely pinpointed his place in life, I guess.
But whatever. I mean, I also some people have an interesting desire to remain anonymous that I just don't care enough about. But anyway, a total digression. He hit the NXT No Mercy show earlier in the week. He got an event poster done, a bunch of cards done. He really cleaned up there and said everyone was really nice.
Yeah, the event posters, WWE kind of stopped selling them. They used to be after every show you could get the NXT posters rather easily. But I'm a mark for those posters. I don't care. Like the event posters like that are sick. Whenever someone has it, I always pop for that. So nice done, Chasen.
And again, the Little Rat, along with Brett Pasternak and Zach Chiera, all went to the New Jersey Horror Con and Film Festival in Edison. Again, you weren't attracted to that lineup at all?
Honestly, I probably should have been. I still need John O'Hurley. I do. I never got Jay Peterman. I just try to I'm not like to your level of of disenchantment here, but I don't want to spend hundreds of dollars and weekends of my life every weekend. And I know the barrel of the gun I'm sort of looking down for October. And I kind of just, John O'Hurley hopefully ain't dying anytime soon.
He frankly does not look like he's terribly young anymore. So if you really want him, I would get on that if I were you.
Yeah, maybe next time.
But also, I believe Zach Linder also couldn't resist the lure of another Thomas Ian Nicholas autograph. I got him on a baseball. I don't know. But that was something there as well. Yeah, those kind of shows. I think it's going to be very hard to get me through the door of those kind of shows. Those were the kind of shows that I used to go to every single one of them back in the day. These smaller names, in and out. It's going to just take a lot for me, even though I don't have most of these people, and I would get them if I was there. But there comes a point when I just don't want to travel, and that's the stage I'm at right now on this lack of traveling, at least for this. I thought it was really cool. You were not the only one posting a retro report. Big Chad also posted a retro report about Gene Simmons. Honestly, I thought it was a sick time. I don't remember him posting this at the time, but I don't know, maybe I missed it. But he met Gene Simmons, who did an appearance at a Wegmans where you only had to buy, was it alcohol or something like that? You get to buy something, and you got a free photo op. And then Big Chad used his natural charm, and he has a lot of natural charm, and he was able to get an autograph out of Gene. So I thought that was really funny. How people are like, oh, Gene's only in it for the money. It's impossible to get anything free out of him. And Big Chad basically got a free combo out of Gene Simmons with just a little bit of charm. So it is doable. And Gene appeared very lovely in that report. And it wasn't that long ago either.
Well, I think what it comes down to, like you said, is the natural charm. 16 times, Big Chad, Vinny. These are people that are able to actually like talk and be likable. And I'm not trying to knock anyone, but I think for some people out there in this hobby that are just completely deranged, they could sell charm with like an affirmed payment plan and they still wouldn't be able to get it. Like it's not going to work for everybody. And on the flip side of the Gene Simmons coin, we got someone shared, I think it may have been Big Chad. I think Big Chad or no Crossfire. I think it was one of them. Someone shared a post from Facebook about a Gene Simmons airport encounter where it appears like the fan was sort of like forcing photos in transit basically for Gene through the airport terminal. And he's looking down, his hat is low. It seemed like he was having no part of it. And there was a transcript of like what was said. And I'm blanking right now on what was the thing? What did Gene Simmons say?
Yes. I'm not going to do it for free or something like that. I normally get paid for this. Wasn't it something like that?
Something along those lines. And the power of the algorithm, the actual person that was being dragged for doing that with Gene Simmons found the shared post. I don't even think he found the original post. He found our post of it. And he like defended himself and claimed that Gene said take the photo, and that's the way he posed. And I'm not so sure I believe it. I could believe that irritatedly he just said just take it. It wasn't posing, but just wanted it to be taken so he could get away from him. That's possible. But it's funny, again, the algorithm, how this random guy who's never been in our group before, like found himself in the group and, came on to share his side. He was like annoyed at us for like captioning it. I'm like, you realize it's a shared post and none of us actually said any of this. We're just reacting to what the original person said.
And I do think that the shared post was definitely going with a little bit of a sensationalistic headline to make him look bad too. Which that's nothing new for all these it was a clickbait site basically that got shared.
Yeah. So I am inclined to believe, I think there's definitely some truth in what he said, but I'm always a proponent of there's three sides to every story. So I'm sure there was it wasn't exactly as he put it.
Very fair. We had Wicked Ink Wednesday again this week. I thought there's some really fun items posted. Dave Kitlak, he posted the can of tuna signed by Ralph Macchio, of course, an homage to My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah, I love it.
I am a huge fan of getting unconventional items signed, or even like very unique items signed, and I believe he got that the inscription was two youths, which of course is the famous interaction, the famous exchange in that movie between Joe Pesci and Fred Gwynn, as the judge was, that was sort of a line that everyone remembers from that movie. It's really an iconic exchange between two brilliant actors from completely different eras of completely different styles, and going back, and it's funny because as a 90s kid, my first real exposure to Fred Gwynn was that. And then going back and watching Fred Gwynn in The Munsters, you really see this sort of extraordinary actor with an extraordinary career. And he was really at the tail end of his career and life by the time My Cousin Vinny came out. And you see it sort of memorialized in this very cool item like that. It's just, I love stuff like that.
Yeah, very cool. Then we had Josh Betancourt with the inscribed Lionel Richie, and Mr. Richie was in New York racking this week. He really was doing his thing.
That's kind of what he does, right? Isn't he sort of known for being super kind and accommodating in public?
Yeah, that's the kind of thing I would love to get my motivation up and say I'm going to start hitting spots like that. But I mean, I don't see it happening with the city is such an inconvenience. I say with this week coming up with at least 3 days on the train, like who the hell wants to deal with that from out here? But I'm always jealous when I see the scores. Yeah,
he's a really good one because Lionel Richie is, again, so this multifaceted person who's done so many different things in so many different ways, and it definitely is a cultural icon that transcends any one thing he's done. So that's always super cool. And then, again, Crossfire, Scott Swinsberg, he posted the dual-signed Jim Cornette, Paul Heyman photo with the inscription, Hell Froze Over. And I believe the context here is those two are kind of like mortal enemies. Right? I don't know how Heyman feels, but I know that Cornette hates Heyman, right?
I mean, Cornette hates most people, but yeah, I think Heyman's on that list.
So I wonder, though, between those two, how much of it was shtick and how much of it was real, because Cornette did those appearances in ECW that time, and I think some of it has been shtick with them in particular. It's not like Cornette and Russo, where it's a very different animal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think Cornette now, the people he hates. I think back then it was questionable, like you said, how much of it was just the storylines and all the gaga.
Yeah, but I mean, I think Cornette's hilarious, Heyman's hilarious, so it's definitely a cool, unique item, so I appreciated that. All right, so we'll talk about the con ads briefly. There's not too many of them this week, honestly.
Yeah. NYCC fulfilled my prophecy of Ghostbuster ops. I won't be getting one, but I mean, they are offered. You have you have a bit more affordable one with Annie Potts and Ernie Hudson, and then you have a 400 and change one with Ernie Hudson, Annie Potts, and Sigourney Weaver. The issue is those three characters don't really have a hell of a lot to do with one another in the film. So, I mean, I'm not inclined to spend $400 on a repeat. But, I mean, for the Ghostbuster nuts out there, and I say that, affectionately, that is probably pretty cool. Because, I mean, I don't think Sigourney's ever done anything that is Ghostbuster-related like this for photo ops.
Yeah, but I just wish, I mean, look, for Ghostbusters, obviously you'd want the Sigourney Rick Moranis op, which is not likely to ever happen. Although, honestly, with Rick Moranis doing Spaceballs 2, maybe there's a chance he gets roped into one of these things at some point, I would say now, because you know how it works. When you're out of the game, you're out of the game. When you get dragged a little in, maybe in for a penny, in for a pound, and he does something like this in the future. I'm not sure.
He's never done a con?
No. He retired completely from acting in Hollywood for a long time. So he's only coming back. He's coming out of retirement for Spaceballs 2. So who knows what next year brings? Maybe Rick Moranis he does an event or something, and we'll see.
That sounds like. Hold on, he did Alamo City Comic Con in 2018.
Did he show up?
I'm trying to say. Holy crap, that was a lineup. You had Arnold there too.
I think that was one of those Ace shows, right?
Alamo City. Maybe.
I think Alamo City was an Ace
Because the guy
show.
I was with yesterday, we ended up talking about Rick Moranis, and he was talking about how he did the one in Texas. And then I wasn't sure. Yeah, Robert Englund was on this line. This was a hell of a lineup. So, I mean, listen, he's done one con. He's out of retirement now. Goldblum was at this con. Look at that. This was a lineup.
Yeah, so that was actually, I was wrong. That was his first and ever and only con appearance. And by the way,
So listen.
you cannot say Moranis, okay? It's Moranis, and there's an important distinction there.
I guess we don't need more anus. Okay.
No, less
All
anus,
right.
please.
Yes. But I mean, that's a strong bold prediction right there. It's getting close to bold prediction season.
It is. I don't want to think about that. I have so much to do this fall. To think about the winter, I don't know, man. A Monster Mania Oaks adds Adrian King from Friday the 13th. So another, horror name. Yeah, pretty noteworthy. I think she'll do all right in Oaks.
I still need her, so I'm actually happy.
I got her, forever ago. So as part, back in the day when,
like everyone else, when I was just swearing off of New Jersey cons for no good reason.
Yeah, definitely, because she made the rounds back in the day.
Yeah.
And definitely you notice an interesting observation that and a bunch of people are questioning it and sort of raising their eyebrows here. The Chiller is not taking pre-orders for Huey Lewis. I know that the people who booked him are insisting that this doesn't mean anything, that he is in fact attending, but eyebrows are being raised at this.
To me, it is Carney 101. It is vendor 101. You take the fans' money early. You take it often to give people the idea of just keep that money and give it to me later. I don't understand. I mean, maybe you decide all of a sudden to get Gene Simmons. Maybe you decide to. Who knows what you decide to do? Maybe your car doesn't sound too great when you start it. You say, forget it. I'll just stay home. You want pre-orders. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't want a conspiracy theory here that he's going to cancel, but let's just look at the landscape. You have two conventions that same weekend. You have, I think, arguably Huey is the top name at Chiller. Would you agree?
Pretty undoubtedly so, I'd say.
Yeah. If he bailed, how many people's bingo cards change a little bit for that weekend?
Now, I think that changes people's calculus dramatically.
Yeah. So
dramatically.
I don't want to add a second C word to Chiller, which would be collusion. But if he was going to cancel, I don't know if they'd be so thrilled to announce it. So we'll see. I'll be there, hoping to see Huey Lewis. Depending on what day I go. I mean, perhaps if we end up doing that 2-for-1 Saturday, we'd find out by Saturday he ain't coming. And I honestly, I'd probably still go in for Brancato and stuff. But that would be a blow. So I'm going to hope. Chiller's not usually shady. So I'm going to hope there's some weird reason why, and he will be there. But speaking of
Chiller did cancel. They did cancel.
Yeah, go on.
Well, that was a whole fiasco because Vinnie Vincent had posted something where he basically pulled the con off of his social media, and then people were asking on the Chiller boards, is he canceled? And they said no. And then he posted this weird public kind of screed about that he was canceling. And then it's just very weird. I think what the issue is, Vinny is a little bit eccentric, and maybe he thought that the rules enumerated in the contract that he signed with Chiller were too stifling. He was very vague about exactly what the rules were. Lord knows what, we can only surmise what rules they have. I mean, we've kind of had the inside track on information for some rules for some people, but some of these celebrities get strange, as we've documented with our dealings with Olivia Hussey, what their perception is, if they're being controlled or if they're, if they don't have full control over the appearance, they get kind of squirrely. My guess is that's what's happening here. Yeah.
And I mean, something tells me any Kiss fans in New Jersey that weekend will find something else to do.
I think you're probably right. I mean, we've talked about this already.
Yeah. And then going from Jersey to the picturesque Monroeville Steel City region. Steel City Con for December has added Cassandra Peterson, who is, I assume, not going to unretire the Elvira gimmick anytime soon. Don Bluth, who went from rare to everywhere overnight. D. Snyder, who honestly is always a cool name to see added anywhere. And they canceled Mr. Ed Gein himself, Charlie Hunnam, who I guess is now riding high. I think he's filming something.
Yeah, he's actually filming now.
Yeah, and he's getting some buzz from that Netflix show, like I kind of expected. I mean, I haven't watched it yet, but it looked pretty transformative, and I think it's honestly what he needs to show he can do something a little different. And I'm sure he'll be re-added at some point. But I mean, that's the thing. They went and brought in. They have Seagal and they have Perlman, and now without Charlie, I mean that's losing some bite.
Yeah, a little bit, but I mean, look, they're still doing their thing. I mean, it's a stack. This is a great Steel City, honestly, just not for me, especially since there's an overlap with Rhode Island. So it's the kind of thing where it's something that if it were close, I would pop into this show. But because of the distance, that's just unless they do something really spectacular, which they could still do. Steel City is a very, very, very good show. I know it's tough, but they're doing and especially committing to that show in December is very challenging because of the weather. It's really they're really rounding out this lineup very nicely. And then Rhode Island continues to add more names. They added Beverly D'Angelo, which you had expected. They added Rob Schneider, who's making news a little bit lately, and but I think a pretty good con name because of the sheer number of big movies that he's been in, and of course his SNL work and stuff. Always an exciting name to bring in. Once again, we ran photo with Friday. This was like I was like a kid in a candy store trying to figure out which ones I wanted to emphasize. Bob and Mark continue to try and one up each other with the coolest sort of vintage photos. And it does pain me a little bit to talk about stuff from the 90s as vintage. But here we are, and we're in 2025, and it's more than 30 years old. So I'm just going to roll with it.
Pushing 40 years old, pal.
Yeah. But anyway, 16 times Mark Miller. He had a phenomenal old school shot with George Foreman when George Foreman looked like George Foreman. And, it was phenomenal shot. And then Bob Pivaroff counters with this extraordinary shot of Charles Bronson from the 90s. And, I mean, we can count on one hand the number of graphers we know with a Charles Bronson Hawke, It's
ridiculous.
Crazy. It's crazy. And it's like that, classic Charles Bronson look. It's amazing. And then, I was picking through what I liked, and I grabbed just to talk about David Kemp with Billy Bob Thornton, really because I wanted to ask you, how come we've never tried to go for Billy Bob?
I think I've had less motivation because I have him, but I would absolutely want drafts. So I don't have a good answer.
He racks it.
He does. We got to keep an eye on his tour and see when he's somewhere drivable.
And he's in. I love the movie. Now I'm going to forget the name of it. I love me some French fried potatoes. Mm-hmm. What's it? Sling Blade, right? Have you seen Sling Blade?
I don't think I have.
I mean, literally his starring role that was sort of.
Wait! I think I did see it. For me, it's Bad Santa. That's awesome. That one.
I think, I like Bad Santa. What's this brown stuff? It's blood, right?
Yeah. I actually think I did see Sling Blade, but I saw it once. I don't remember any lines.
But
this is definitely his Paramount film. You're correct.
Yeah. So I think we gotta when next time he's in these parts, we gotta make sure to be a little bit more
proactive
about trying to make this happen. So if you're shopping for autographs, check out www.markedoutcollectibles.com or our eBay store at Marked Out Collectibles. To contact us for any reason, good, bad, or otherwise, please email markedoutcollectibles@gmail.com or join the Marked Out autograph collecting community on Facebook, which seems to be a pretty popular thing to do lately. And of course, all links to these things are in the show notes on Facebook and Substack. And if you want your event, product, or brand advertised on episodes of Marked Out Radio, please reach out to us today at markedoutcollectibles@gmail.com. Also, we love our engagement. So if you have, please engage, please subscribe. Subscribers really help us. Subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or all three. You can leave us a rating or review on Apple Podcasts. You can leave us a rating on Spotify. You can leave thumbs up, thumbs down, or a comment on YouTube. All right, so now it's time to talk about New York Comic Con. Despite the fact that I've been a little bit down on the hobby generally lately, I am genuinely looking forward to New York Comic Con this weekend. It is my favorite con of the year. I just like looking around, walking around, observing the specimens of humanity there. I enjoy the vendor booths. I enjoy the freebies. I enjoy the atmosphere, the sort of joviality to it. What are you looking forward to most?
As usual, I'm usually for the photos. That's basically it. I don't get a ton out of walking around. I try it. I feel like I always look at you and your enjoyment of it, and I'm like, I should do this too, just to like take it all in. And I usually take it all in, and I'm like, all right, is that it? Like, I guess there's a lot of things that don't always appeal to me. When I'll hit like vendors that have stuff that maybe would appeal to me, I'm quickly realize, like, do I want to go carrying bags? And I don't. So I don't even really look for anything I need or bargains, which I'm sure there are none because everyone has eBay and everyone knows what everything is worth. So I never really get much out of that. I actually enjoyed walking around at Fanatics Fest more than I typically enjoy NYCC. Like the little like the around the world competition, like that stuff was kind of fun. So I'll be where I usually am, posted up down in Autograph Alley.
That's it? You're just looking forward to Autograph Alley? Because you're really not getting any autographs. You're just getting photo ops. So you're just looking to getting your photo ops and going home, and that's it?
Pretty much. I mean, I kind of wanted a Nick Holt autograph. I was going to get him on a Nosferatu piece, and that sold out. So I'm not doing that. I may do something with Bryce Dallas. My buddy is going, and he's going to be in the lines. I may give him something Jurassic related for her. I don't know if I will. Ultimately, as we'll get to in a little bit, my budget's pretty big. And I mean, when you have all these photo ops, I'm not a person that gets anxious with a lot of things. For example, this weekend when I was going on my quest, at one point, which I didn't even tell you this, and you'll be hearing this for the first time, I make a left turn to go down the street trying to find parking, and I ended up going up the wrong way. All of a sudden, I see a car driving at me. And I'm like, well, okay, that's not supposed to be there. And very calmly, I just sort of, right the ship. I go the right way. I'm able to cross the little divider in the middle, and I was going good again. But I mean, no anxiety. I was cool. The car's driving at me. It was actually kind of funny, I thought. But you put me in an autograph line with photo ops barreling down, and you got 3 life stories going on in front of you, and I hate that. I hate that with a passion. You got to make friends with some weirdo behind you to let you cut back in line. And I hate that. So like when you have this many pro ops, I just try to avoid autographs altogether. So yeah, I think I'll just be bouncing from photo op line to photo op line and then trying to see what train home I can catch.
And so which photo op are you looking for the most?
Ooh, not the biggest name, but it is absolutely, unquestionably Michael Chiklis.
It's funny to me. I mean, there's a lot of backstory to your Michael Chiklis quest, and really everyone's Michael Chiklis quest, because for someone who was a very, 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 very kind of important TV name from the early 2000s, he just hasn't been around that much.
That's part of it, and like for whatever reason, I've been chasing him for 15 years on the street. Like whenever he would do Regis, I was busy or I procrastinated. I didn't go. And then he got kind of weird later in his life, where I think Greg tells some story how he like told someone not to sign at some like upfront because they steal your identity that way. It was like this like deranged like tinfoil hat stuff. And I have like a funny little Michael Chiklis story. I'm not going to say the name of who it was because that's not the point. But someone I know, I remember, got who they thought was Michael Chiklis at this event. And he went to some like sports event. It was like an event for the Rangers, I think, like through Steiner. And I remember I was jealous. I was pissed. Like, holy crap, I didn't go to this thing. Like, why would I? And then Michael Chiklis was there. And like, I know Michael Chiklis is a Boston guy. It seemed a little weird he'd be at a New York sports event, but who knows? Apparently, this person signed like the charity item for Steiner. Steiner was giving like some charity, like Ranger jersey that they were raffling off. He signed it. It was a big thing. So my buddy got a photo with Michael Chiklis. And I was happy for him, mixed with jealous, because I mean, how would you not be when it's like one of your top ones? And he like sent the photo, and I look at it, and I'm like, that's not him. And we went back and forth, and I'm like, that's not him. He said, yes, it was. He's like, he signed the thing for Steiner's raffle. It had to be. How would it not be him? And we went back and forth, and I'm ashamed to admit we actually had like an argument about this. I think we went like a day not talking. He thought I was just being like an asshole, and it truly wasn't him. I forget how it like was realized, and like he said, like, you know, that wasn't him. And there's like a fake Michael Chiklis signature on some Steiner like charity thing. I don't know how they ever handled that.
It's really an all-time great story, because I was not there, but I remember you telling me the story. I remember you sent me the photo. You're like, is this Michael Chiklis? And I was just like, I don't know. I wasn't even really a fan of his. So I mean, and the guy does kind of look like him, but you know, it's a lot of times people, when you meet them out and about, they don't look exactly like their Hollywood selves. So you're not sure.
So at this point, Michael Chiklis has taken on like a cult hero type of residency in my head. So like finally getting Michael Chiklis, like the last of those stars of those like early 2000s, like it was, you know, Rescue Me, The Shield, like those shows that I loved in that time. So yeah, he's not the biggest, he's not the flashiest, but that's my guy. How about you?
I mean, the draw for me initially for this show was Annie Potts. That was the person who, when I saw she was announced, I was like, that's awesome. For a variety. I mean, Annie Potts, I really think she was tremendous in Ghostbusters. I also really like her in Young Sheldon. I mean, yeah, and she's one of those names where you go, why isn't she doing more cons? And now she has started, and you're like, okay. And so she was always someone who I really liked, you know? So that was kind of the initial draw for me. And then, I've wanted Simon Pegg for a very long time, but just didn't. His appearances never lined up with my my appearances at places, you know. And so he was at things, but I just happened to not be there. And so I've been waiting on Simon Pegg for a while, and then of course Lawrence Fishburne. I mean, you know, just as Morpheus is huge, but also that Nightmare on Elm Street 3, even though I'm not, you know, it's funny, I never bought the autograph for my poster, and I'm still on the fence about whether I want to buy it. So I got to see what I want to do. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money for a background character, you know?
That's not an OG, right? It's a reprint?
It's a reprint. But I have the whole cast on there, including John Saxon. So...
And that's one of the good ones. That's one of the... I personally, you know, those like the, you know, Nightmare, Halloween, I love them all. But I mean, objectively speaking, that's one of the good ones. Like that you can actually...
It's the best one in my opinion. Yes. Growing up, that was my favorite. I love that movie. So
I'm biased for the first one. It's like, it's classic. You're introduced to the character. It's fun. But yeah, I think if you're just going to take it, you know, remove nostalgia, remove all that, I think that is pound for pound the strongest film in the series. So I think you kind of have to do it.
No, I just don't want to wait in line. You know, we'll see what I can do. Maybe, well, I'll think. I really have to let it simmer in my head before I make any real strong decisions here. Those are the things I'm looking forward to the most, and of course, that's by no means my whole lineup. So let's talk budget, because I know. Do you go into a show like this with a planned dollar amount that you're willing to spend, or do you just kind of make it work based on who's announced?
I don't go into my life with a planned budgeted amount of what I should be doing, which is probably why my finances aren't as great as they should be. So absolutely not. I just take a handful of darts, I fling them at the board, and, you know, I deal with the blowback later.
All right, so let's talk budget. So out of pocket, who are you getting, and what's your out of pocket on this?
All right, I will first run through my lineup. My Thursday is Carl Urban, Martin Sheen, Michael Chiklis, and Simu Liu, which I pronounced terribly, I'm sure. Photos only.
Photos only, that's what I was asking. Okay.
Photos only. Then on Sunday, I have Simon Pegg, I have Bryce Dallas Howard, I have Elliot Page, I have James McAvoy, I have Nicholas Hoult, I have Larry Fishburne, and I also have to add, what the hell is her name? Deborah Ann Wall, who I realized today in our pre-show prep that I never bought her. Well, I got to make sure with Ira that he doesn't have it bought, and I just think we didn't buy it. So all that is my lineup. So the total out of pocket is $15.41.59. But I split all of these photos with either Ira or Lanza. And then I just do my little Dr. Frankenstein magic afterwards to make the crops look a little better. So my out of pocket would be half of that, which would be like $770. Yeah, $770 and whatever amount of change, which is still an insane amount of money. But I mean, it definitely could be worse.
Well, yes, it can be, because now let's talk about my lineup. Okay. So I also incredibly am doing photo only at this point.
That's a first.
No, it's not. It's rare, but it's not a first. I would say maybe this is a second or a third where that's happened. But I also am thinking I might not, because as I said to you before, I might do. Well, I'll just do my official stuff and then my on the bubble stuff after. So Thursday I have Martin Sheen, I have Shimu Liu, and I have Carl Urban. Those are Thursday. On Friday I have Sigourney Weaver photo. On Saturday I have Simon Pegg, James McAvoy, Nicholas Hoult, Annie Potts, Elliot Page, Lawrence Fishburne. And on Sunday, I have Brendan Fraser. And I do not split photo ops unless I absolutely have to, or I'm like really desperate, or there's a situation where it's someone I don't really care about that much and don't really mind the ugliness of the split. And so I'm not splitting anyone at NYCC. And so my dollar total will be significantly higher than yours, whereas yours was $770 and change. My total, I rounded all my amounts to the nearest dollar because I'm not doing nickels or whatever. My amount is $19.91.
That was a great Royal Rumble.
Was it? The 92 was the Rumble everyone liked.
Oh, I like all those with those fun posters. 91 I like. 92 is the classic.
So I'm rounding the corner on 2,000, which is an absolutely unhinged number to think about for something like this.
YOLO.
And I don't even know how I got there, really. I don't, given that I was like, but there's just a lot of names at this show who just, a lot of first timers or a lot of people who don't do a lot or people who are in stuff that I kind of like and who I've been trying to, who I just decided to get. So, Alan, do you have any comments on I mean, our lists are very similar.
Yeah, the people that you have that I don't have, it's not me showing any sort of discretion here. I have Sigourney. I got Annie Potts on the street, and I got Brendan Fraser, and I bought that group op with him and that whatever the hell her name was, April Bowlby or whatever, because I procrastinated and he sold out, and then I had to buy the group op to get him. So
which show?
It was NYCC, whatever that was before his Oscar run.
I passed on him that time at Boston Fan Expo when he hardly had any. It was just stupid. I don't know why I did that. And now I'm suffering for it. But whatever.
So, yeah. So I think I like looking at your lineup. There's no one like you look at this lineup. There's no filler. Like we've gotten this many people, or at least I have at NYCC's past. But I mean, these are all like headliners. This isn't like the 18th on a call sheet. These are all like big major names. It's actually kind of crazy.
It certainly is. So all right, and then so let's talk about are you even with this amount of spending, are you on the bubble for anybody where you're like, game day decision kind of thing?
Well, I'm psychotic, as I've said, on a weekly basis. So yes, absolutely.
So
well, this is a pretty big bubble right here. Redman, who I've been chasing for a little bit of time, is appearing at the Vault as I'm announcing this. I'm advertising this now to our listeners, which, I mean, I guess it makes me a good podcaster, but it makes me a crappy collector, because why the hell am I helping make the line bigger? But in any case, Redman is appearing at Vault Comics booth on Saturday, promoting a graphic novel that ties into his latest album. I'm not coming in on Saturday, but I mean, in theory, that was a rest and recovery day, so I could. They haven't announced the time yet, so I'm still on the fence about do I want to make a whole. I have the 4-day professional ticket, so it wouldn't cost me anything but travel. Do I want to come in? Well, at whatever that they shake out of me at the table. And you kind of twisted my arm in a good way by pointing out to me that with that poster I have signed by Method Man that does need a Redman signature, it's probably in my best interest to just do it.
And you've been carrying on for quite a while now about wanting Redman. Here he is. You have a ticket to the damn show you already paid for. Like, what's even the holdup? I don't get it. Just to rest, you can rest after Comic-Con's over.
Will he do photos is the first question, which I imagine he would at that booth.
I mean, look, I'll tell you this. When they had Exhibit for a similar thing 2 years ago, the photos were not advertised, but it was a given. It's these days, photos are a given. It's not like it used to be. I wouldn't even that's something I wouldn't even consider as a question. Truly.
Then there's a chance that day I have some street business to do, but I don't think I will. So I probably will do it. I think I have to. If I don't, I'll tell you this: if I don't go for Redman at NYCC on Saturday, I will never darken your ears complaining about wanting him again, because I would have no right to complain. I'll keep my complaints privately.
I've heard about Redman from you multiple times now.
I'm saying I have to do it.
You have to. There's even and the fact that you probably have to spend $50 at the table, something like that. You'll have stuff. It's a no-brainer. I think it's a no-brainer.
And then my other thing I'm on the fence about, which here is just true insanity. I have never seen Phineas and Ferb, but it looks like something I could like. So the question is, do I just spring for a photo op blind, having never watched the show, or do I watch the show just to decide if I should spring for the photo op? Honestly, both scenarios sound like I belong in a psych ward.
They do.
So I don't really know what the move is. I mean, the move is, I would say, who cares? I haven't watched the show, thank God. But I'm pretty sure I'll be doing something, because I do like cartoons. I've never seen this one. For you to actually like it, that says something. Because, I mean, I'm not calling you old, but you're not the age demographic there. So if you like it, that tells me it's got something going for it. So I don't want to regret it.
So for me, I'm on the bubble for Deborah Ann Wool, and for a few reasons. Number one, I already have her. I already have her autograph. I never got a photo op with her, but I already have her autograph, which I got at through the mail. So it's like, do I need to pay for a photo here? And also, well, complicating this, she's also going to be in Rhode Island, and so if I can put off for tomorrow, something like that, where I don't need to like stack the payment now, it's fine.
Listen,
not even just the payment, the scheduling.
You only procrastinate on truly important things in life, like paperwork and stuff. You don't procrastinate on combos.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna end up punting on her. I'm on the bubble on Michael Chiklis, because I do recognize the significance of Michael Chiklis for the Shield and everything like that. I've never seen the Shield. Also, that Fantastic Four movie he was in was horrible. So it's like, I mean, beyond that, what has he really even done? Nothing that means anything to me. So it's one of those names that I kind of want, but maybe not at the price he's at. So what I anticipate doing is checking out his table and scoping out if there's a table op available for him. Because most of the names I have are non-table op names anyway. So it's one of those things where I'm like, I'll check it out at the table. Same thing with Phineas and Ferb. I am not drawn to a photo op with them at all, for the simple reason that I don't get photo ops with voice actors. I think it's dumb. We've kind of discussed that mentality before. I know some people agree. Many people do not. That is fine. I accept the disagreement on that. But I do have a pretty cool poster from Phineas and Ferb that I had originally purchased when I had a meet and greet with Bowling for Soup, because they did the theme song for Phineas and Ferb, and I had a meet and greet with them. But it turns out they were not doing autographs at that stop, and so this poster is now just sort of sitting there lonely. I actually have two of them, because it was a lot of two that I bought, and it's kind of just sitting there. And so
how big is the poster?
I have to measure it, but I think it's like 11 by 17 ish. It's a little bit off. It's a little bit off size. I know that. So it's not fully 11 by 17, but it's something in that ballpark. I could probably just look it up on my eBay account to see what it is, and try and find it. But yeah, I have that poster, and so I'm debating what to do with it. So yeah, I mean, and it's a funny thing, before this show, what we had done was we both went through the full booth lineup, and it's one of those things where even during the week we're going to have to go through the booth lineup again just to see who else they might add at the very, very, very last second, because that's a thing.
And the reality is that list on the website is hardly ever complete. Like there's always stuff that never hits there. That's just posted on the booth's socials, and it's honestly the show with the most, like, it's probably the only show out there that you really could struggle to find out all the information. It's just not all in one place.
So I was wrong about the Phineas and Ferb poster. It is 22 by 34.
It's a weird size.
It is.
OG?
Official Nickelodeon. I believe I have two. I have to. Did I buy two? What I can tell you in my purchases. I did buy two. There was a quantity discount for buying two.
Wait, it's not a Nickel. Isn't it a Disney show?
Disney. I'm sorry, you're right. Disney. It's official Disney. They were $15 each. For that poster. So it was one of those things where if I bought two, it would like have covered what the shipping was. So I just the discount. So I bought two.
Now my deranged mind is thinking I should buy the second one from you and get it signed, which I've never. Now I'm like double stacking insanity.
I'm not gonna lie, it's an awesome poster.
Listen, I'll let you know after I watch the show.
Does the guy still have these?
Really sick.
He does. So anyway, yeah, we had gone through the entire lineup, just looking and poking through it. There are already other names that we saw on that full lineup sheet that I don't recall ever having been announced anywhere, but that's how NYCC works. I remember a couple of years ago walking around this is one of my like most frustrating memories from NYCC. I was walking around the floor of the show and I see a booth advertising an appearance by Mikey Way from My Chemical Romance. It was never announced on the website. You had to like grab a ticket first thing in the morning, and that guaranteed you a shot to meet him the next day or 2 days. It was like you grab a ticket on Thursday and you get to meet him on Saturday, right? So I grab a ticket and I had a guaranteed shot at meeting him on Saturday, and I remember frantically spending the next 2 days trying to find either a Welcome to the Black Parade vinyl, a Three Cheers for Sweet Revenge vinyl, or the My Chemical Romance Welcome to the Black Parade Funko. And I looked everywhere in the tri-state area that I would be able to pick it up. I called every comic store. I called every record store you could possibly conceive of. I went to every vendor. There was a vendor that was selling all the different album Funkos except for that one. They didn't have that one in. And I was like, why don't you have it if he's going to be here? And they were all like, well, he wasn't announced. He was never announced. And I ended up never meeting him because I was so enraged that I was never able to get an item for him. I spent 2 full days trying to get an item. I harassed every vendor. I was like, are you going home? Can you check your stock? I had one guy who was like, I think I might have it. I'll let you know. They didn't have it. So there is definitely a scourge of like non-announcements at this show that is very frustrating. And it's one of those things that you have to be as agile as possible. This is the only way to say it. You have to be agile and willing to adapt. And now, in retrospect, do I regret not getting the op? I do, but that's how it goes, man.
Yeah, agility is key. And sadly, you become less and less agile the more you sort of commit to. Like, I have very little agility because if you look at my schedule, you're talking you're talking 4 hours on Thursday of ops basically every hour. I mean, you can't go too far or do too much in that time. And then, on Sunday, there's multiple conflicts. So forget doing something else. I mean, you're going to be bouncing around and get them all done before one ends. So I mean,
really true. The number of photo ops, number of pro ops we have where there's absolutely no wiggle room is kind of nutty.
And like, I know we'll manage it because like we've done this so much, it's actually easy at this point. You just, for most of these, it as long as you're on the front of one of the lines, you just keep going, or you just tell the staff and they bring you through the back and they bring you in that way. It's easy to do, but it's like, you're definitely not going to be looking for like extra stuff. I'm not even thinking R.L. Stine. I didn't look at any of that stuff because When would I do it?
It's true. You box yourself into a corner almost with these pro ops, but that's the easiest way to extract maximum value from a show like this. That's kind of how it's done.
And I mean, for me, if there were no pro ops, I wouldn't be there. I don't think. I mean, unless it was a completely different show. But just like booths and vendors and raffles to get in to see like a George R. Martin with no photo ops. Like I wouldn't deal with that. So the pro ops, it's why I'm there. It's a great lineup of pro ops. Do you still feel like this is the greatest lineup of all time, like we've been saying, seeing it all laid out in front of you?
It's pretty extraordinary.
Yeah,
it's pretty damn extraordinary.
Part of me wonders, like I've definitely spent more collectively or individually, either way. Like I've been in the twos before. So if I'm not spending as much as I did at other shows, how can I really say it's the best lineup ever? But I just think objectively it is. I think I've spent a lot of money on other shows on junk. And this is like everyone here is like, these are names. This is not, victim number 4 in this movie or dumb things like that that start bloating my budget.
Yeah, and the truth is, victim number 4, they have their place at cons. And this con is really gunning for the biggest names possible. And it's kind of wild to see. So we talked about at length how that there's some frustration attached to that too. And there is. But right now I want to bask in the enjoyment of a show like this. And
yeah.
I'm going to have a blast. And then after I'm done with it, then I'll complain.
No, after you're done with it, you'll be sleeping through Reese Witherspoon's event because it'll be a post-show meet and greet. Then you'll complain about all of it after.
Yeah, that's how it goes. So, I mean, let's walk through what's coming up for us, right? We have NYCC this weekend. It's sort of life destroying in the sense that the amount of time that it occupies, you really can't do anything else on NYCC days.
I don't know how you still do 4. I get this year you have other stuff going on outside of it that 4th day is working, but I don't know how you're still doing 4 days.
I have to. This is how it goes. It's
the combo gods command it.
They do. They sort of demand that I pay proper offering. That's how it is. Monday, we're still going to be wrestling with Reese. We're not even going to know. I guarantee you, we're not going to get the email from that company until like Saturday morning or Sunday even for what the rules are for that meet and greet. And that's, the more I deal with that psychologically, the more upsetting it's going to be for me.
I mean, listen, the idea we have to come in on the day off after Comic-Con, after all the stuff I've personally been doing. I mean, listen, it's pretty inconvenient to begin with. So hopefully before, but I mean, it's all shades of gray here.
Yeah, it's true. And then of course, Chill Out and Chiller 2 weeks after that. So we do get a 1 week break in between. I'm just, for some reason, I keep getting nervous. There's something that weekend of the 18th, 19th, but there's not. Even though I know there's not, I'm getting like anxiety that there is because I don't know. It's like fear. It's insane. It's an insane fear to have. But that's kind of what I'm being honest. That's what I'm feeling. So thankfully that will then round out October. And then November comes with Rhode Island, Oaks, and big events. So we like to think October is the big month, but November is just as big. Not dollars and cents wise, but certainly in terms of days that are, spent on the hobby.
Yeah. And then, Christmas season and stuff, you get a little bit of a breather, but I'm sure there'll be book signings and stuff coming in the winter. There's always something. You never get months of solid just darkness.
It's very true. So once again, if you're shopping for autographs, check out www.markedoutcollectibles.com or our eBay store at Marked Out Collectibles. To contact us for any reason at all, even to say hello, email markedoutcollectibles@gmail.com, or once again, join the Marked Out Autograph Collecting community on Facebook and post to your heart's content. We have new members posting every single week. So just once again, to reiterate what we have coming up for Marked Out Collectibles, we have our Swerve Strickland and Goldberg metallic print pre-orders. For November, the window is getting closer to closing for those. And again, those prints will only be done in pre-order fashion. So if you want one, you must pre-order it because there will be no inventory after the fact. So
November 1st, that train leaves the yard. That's when it comes down.
Here before you know it.
Yeah.
And of course, at Big Event itself, we will have Vanity Project, The Boys, Jackson Drake, Brad Brailer, Ricky Smokes, all together, doing photos and autographs. We have a couple of different ticket options for that on the website, and we will also have the stunner Emily J, who will be at the Big Event as well. And soon, very soon, we'll be posting print options for them for mail order if you are unable to attend.
I will say it right now. I'll drop by our next week's episode this week, I will get prints up, and I'll probably add more prints as the days go by between now and then. But I'm gonna definitely get a listing up with. I have some new ones already. I have some old favorites that I'm sure people would like to get personalized and signed, to their preference. So we'll get the print orders going this coming week, and then I'll just add anything new as these guys' careers. It's much easier to make prints for like the old guys that their careers are over. It's everything's at your fingertips. These guys are sort of building their legacies in front of our eyes. So I'm just like waiting for cool shots to hit. So
well, you know what ends up happening? What ends up happening is every time you think you have a lineup of cool shots, someone does something new, and you keep sending me these new pictures. And they post something new to Instagram, and you're like, damn, there's always these new pictures coming out.
Yeah, and I want to have the freshest and the most timely because, that's just what you want to have. And it's a constant, like, it's like making a nice sandcastle right at the shore. So bear with us, but we'll definitely have some offerings available this week.
All right, awesome. I think we're good. I think I will be seeing you. Am I going to run into you much on Thursday?
I don't know.
Same people. We're getting the same people, so.
Yeah. I imagine you'll see me. I don't even know what I'm going to do with the metas. Without autograph tables, there's not a hell of a lot of I'll have it for the crowd and whatnot, but there's not much juiciness to really extract here.
That's true. Speaking of which, I'm going to look up Lawrence Fishburne, LAU. Why can't I find him on? Oh, he's at the top. That's why. SH.
Look him up for what?
Autograph.
162.
And then also the time. So I can't do it I can't even do it on Saturday. It would be a Sunday deal if I did it.
Yeah, if I want to lug that poster around on Sunday.
Why not? I'm not going to want to lug it around on Saturday. Sunday's easy.
True. Then you know what you must do.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna do it. Let me dig it out first and really examine it and see if it's something that I want to bother with. That's something that I'll meditate on. I'm kidding. I'm not meditating about that, but you know what I mean. I'll ponder it later on today and the rest of this week before I make that decision because that's not selling out. So, all right, awesome. We good?
We're good.
All right. So we will hopefully see you there. If you see us at New York Comic Con, of course, come by and say hello. We're always interested in faking that we are friendly people.
Sean hopes for some hugs, and he's even willing to do chiropractic adjustments from all he learned in Columbus.
I do. The copay is $40. That's my rate. It's a joke. I'm not touching anyone. So for markedout.com, Marked Out Collectibles, Marked Out Radio, I'm Sean.
I'm Dana.
And we'll see you at the greatest holiday our hobby knows, New York Comic Con this weekend. Have a great week.